This is Oddity by Sean Sweeney. I was watching Mandy Summers. She's the artist for and the writer for Wart the Wizard. She has she does live streams, and they're small and they're fun. Small live streams are a lot of fun. You can get involved and actually talk to people. And she was interviewing this guy, I think he was tonight, about Oddity, which looks really good. But I wanted to show you one thing. Okay, you can get the book, digital, $10, double download, $15. The book itself, $25. But then you can get a cover by EVS for $35. And there are a lot of people who are definitely fans of EVS because he's very collectible, or they just like his artwork. They like him, like his artwork. So I thought, if you're interested in Ethan Van Sciver's art, then you can get a cover of Oddity with him on it for $35. Or you can get the original cover and the Ethan's cover for $50. But I'll take a look at this in a moment. This is Age of Conan Valeria, and I thought to myself when I saw this, what's this? A spark of hope at Marvel? But don't get excited. It seems like a simple, fun, lighthearted comic, a bit of action adventure with, hopefully, I assume, a little romance in future issues. I think that's a classic combination of a fun adventure tale, action with a little romance. That way you get the male and female audience. Now that I think about it, the two Conan films with Arnold were pretty light on the romance. That was mainly because Arnold was such a bad actor. It's just hard to see him in a romantic role, a man and his growth hormone, a love story. In his iconic film, Pumping Iron, he talks about the pump feeling as good as an orgasm. So he says, "Yeah, I am always coming." He was also talking about great men like Jesus Christ and that German corporal. And he still got elected governor in California. The media would never allow that in current year. Anyway, the first thing you notice about Valeria is that she has boobs. And for SJWs who are unfamiliar with these things, they are the mammary glands that biological women have with which they feed their babies. On SJWs, boobs are usually artificial objects that men get implanted on their chest so they can look like women, assuming that women are 6 feet tall with huge hairy testicles. Believe it or not, when I was a kid, women didn't actually have big hairy balls. They had big hairy vaginas, and almost nobody cared. When you see a Marvel character with fun bags, you wonder what editing slip-up allowed that mistake. The female form is very much haram at Marvel. Unless it's a man dressing as a woman, then he'll have a D cup and be stunning and brave. My buddy told me, remember, it's not a chick with a dick, it's a dude with fake titties. But I digress. Reading The Age of Conan, I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. I have woke feminist PTSD caused by reading hundreds of cringy cancer comics. I kept waiting for the European men bad trope. 30 years ago, if you told comic readers how racist, misandrist, and evil modern mainstream comics would get, nobody would believe you. They would say, that's crazy. Companies are in business to make money. That's where you're wrong, kiddo. If Zoe Quinn can get hired at DC in any capacity, if Heather Antos gets hired, then the industry is admitting that they are in a post-profit mode of business. 30 years ago, the guys would have wives and families. They'd be doing their best to buy a house. But people like Zoe Quinn, Mags Visaggio, they don't have kids or spouses. They have roommates and cats. Now, I almost fell into the trap of thinking that this comic was pretty good simply because it wasn't full of SJW-isms. A few years ago, this comic would be mediocre, but comics have gotten so bad, let's call it the Gail Simone effect, that even mediocre comics are now acceptable. The whole time I'm reading it, I was thinking it would be better with a man going out on an adventure because young women usually don't put themselves at risk. There's a biological imperative for women to protect their eggs so they can make babies. Obviously, a woman doesn't have the muscles to be a barbarian adventurer, so you're really stretching the willing suspension of disbelief. But maybe in a future issue, she will team up with a real barbarian, and they can continue their adventures together. Then, of course, she will get pregnant and be introduced to the kitchen and the joys of cooking and taking care of babies, while her husband goes on adventures. But since we don't want him to be lonely, we will have to have him banging bar wenches and whores as he travels. I'm sure Marvel will put that in the upcoming issues. They will call it Valeria, the Barefoot and Pregnant Adventures of Cooking and Cleaning. I wonder what the reaction would be if that happened. The Twitter meltdown would be epic. They would assume someone was holding Marvel hostage. A character like a female barbarian is best in small doses, i.e. as a sidekick, because the whole idea of her fighting real barbarians is just so ridiculous. Realistically, she would just get gangbanged in every town she went to, and that would be an entirely different kind of comic, which I guess there are comics like that out there. I don't know, I haven't seen any like that, but at least it would be more entertaining. There is one interesting scene. She's being trained as a kid in a flashback, and she says she wishes that she was born as a boy, and her instructor says, maybe your life would have been easier if you've been born a boy, or maybe not. That is something you don't expect to hear from woke Marvel. Don't get me wrong, it's not as if Marvel is course changing, but it's just a bit unusual. That also made me wonder something that in retrospect seems obvious. Is Marvel even capable of writing fun, engaging stories like they used to? And it hit me. No, they can't. Those days are gone. They can't bring them back even if they wanted to, and they absolutely do not want to. And even if they tried, they would get canceled by the Twitter communists who would say, yikes, my guy, bad take, friendo, and wow, just wow. They would threaten to boycott Marvel, which is, of course, an empty threat, because for the most part, they don't buy comics anyway. I will pessimistically watch this comic, so when it gets woke, I can say, I told you so. Some of it's cheesy. She's beating up 3 guys when she gets captured, and it's like, come on, look at these dudes. She's 120 pounds. These dudes are over 200 pounds, and that dude is pretty much a giant, so... swordplay only goes so far, but whatever. It's a departure for the usual Marvel comic. Shows her getting her ass kicked. I mean, she eventually defeats all 3 guys, but she takes some lumps in the fight, and that's not something you see in mainstream comics anymore. I mean, she gets cut with a sword, and she gets kicked in the chest or kicked in the face or something. So that's kind of refreshing. And she's kind of ruthless too. She threatens to cut this guy's throat. Of course, his partner kills him anyway. Why are these guys in their underwear? Aren't mosquitoes a problem? I would like to be a fly on the wall when they made this, because stuff like this, she's got boobs. That is just not. That's not. I'm sure if the Renfamous types ever listen to this video, which they won't, they would say, "What are you doing? You're so obsessed with breasts." Yeah, I'm obsessed with the female form because you just don't see it. You see the same bodies, like in the Gail Simone books or the woke Marvel books. You see the same female body. It's like 5'6", 125 pounds, B cups. Every single female form is the same weird body. They're not too threatening. They're not too good looking. There's no diversity. There's no body diversity. I mean, even female athletes come in different. There are female athletes with C cups. It does happen. There are female athletes with breasts. They're not all the same 5'6" B cups. The same flat, boring people. Anyway, so yeah, I'm obsessed with. But they talk that about the comics gay people. They say, oh, they're just obsessed with breasts and women's breasts, and yeah, because it would be nice to see women who actually look like women. Okay, listen, here's the thing. You're drawing these men who are idealized forms of the human. Men do not look like this. Men are not this muscular. Very, very rarely. They would be that broad-shouldered, that low body fat, that muscular. It's like professional bodybuilder level. So if you have no problem having men be just, six packs and things like that, that's like, we're talking less than 10% body fat. you got to draw women with big breasts and, you know, sexy curved butts and that kind of stuff. You got to give a little, you know, give the fans what they want, because they're the ones who are paying $4 for your book. Anyway, I wanted to take a look at this. If I find the guy's YouTube channel, maybe it's just Sean Sweeney. He was in the chat. He was in the what's her name? Summers something. Mandy Summers, I think. The girl who wrote Wart the Wizard. He was in his chat talking about the book, and it's doing pretty well. What was it, like $7,000, $6,000, something like that? And when I looked at the art, there's the art's down below with this little video feature showing it. It looked professional. This looks professionally done to me. Everything is, even from the line work to the coloring, this looks like a top-notch artist. Human flesh, maggots. Kind of reminds me of Swamp Thing, if you've either read the comic book or seen the movie with Adrienne Barbeau from the 80s. And they made a sequel with, I think, Heather Locklear. Was that her? The sequel's okay. Most sequels you'd think are just absolute dog food, but the sequel's okay. Okay, here's the thing with this video. It's great. It's fine. It's a great video. It showcases the art, and it looks like a fun story. But these images are going by a little too fast. That's a real effective image, and you showed it for like a second and a half. I think you probably could have slowed it down and let us kind of soak it up. Unless you're doing that on purpose to, I don't know, entice people. Anyway, that looked really cool to me. It's only, what was it, a minute and a half long? Not like, didn't Zach have a video for Iron Sights that was 30 minutes long or something just absolutely ridiculous? So again, you can get the Ethan Van Sciver cover for $35, or if you're willing to spend $50, you get both covers. Though really, if you're looking for a collectible, I would definitely get the Ethan Van Sciver cover. So 50-page, drawn by the talented Sean Sweeney and written by David Sean. Okay, maybe it was David Sean that was in the chat. Who or what is the Oddity, you ask? The Oddity is a lazy, mutated swamp punk with strange abilities. He's given the responsibility of being the swamp's protector and manages to royally screw it up. So a little bit like Swamp Thing, but with a sense of humor. Did we mention this already amazing visual book will have a variant cover by 20-year veteran of DC Comics, the most humble man in comics, the most charming man in comics, the Human Sunbeam. He's done, we know what he's done. He's done a lot, and he's obviously a very top-notch artist. Deep in the heart of a strange bayou lives the Oddity. He emerges from a secret lair only when his watery home is in danger from outsiders, or when he has to make a run to the bait shop to pick up groceries. Frankly, getting him off the couch is kind of a challenge most of the time. Lazy and careless, he's given strange powers and chosen by the spirit of the swamp to act as its guardian and caretaker. He accepts the role and performs it thoughtlessly. Dereliction of duty causes him to accidentally unleash monsters on the swamp and the local town. A giant housefly is his mentor, and a local grad student with a dark past. Okay. Sounds good to me. Action, horror, and humor. No agendas, no politics, just a fun story with crazy characters. Help us reach our $3,000 goal and get this book printed and shipped to your door. Well, okay, for $3,000, that's enough. But look at this great art. That's enough to get the book started, but there's no way. I'm assuming he's hoping that that's just enough to get it started, and they'll probably pay the other few $1,000s to actually get it going. Because there's a crossover point of when books are in the black. But look at this. This looks. I've seen a lot of Indiegogo campaigns. I've looked at dozens of Indiegogo campaigns, and some of them are better than others, and some are top notch. But and some are definitely not ready, and this is definitely ready. This looks great. Everything about this looks good. From the composition, the structure. I know absolutely nothing about the artist. Look at that. It seems lighthearted and fun. It's fun. It's funny. And they were talking about this image on the live stream. It's kind of an effective image of a mobile home up in a tree. And the colors. Look at that. It's fantastic. And obviously, if you're a fan of Cyberfrog, then you might like this kind of thing too. It reminds me of Cyberfrog. But this looks great. You can get a sweatshirt. I don't think I want a sweatshirt. Who wants a sweatshirt that nobody knows of? Oddity. I don't know, maybe. I don't like sweatshirts, I like zip-ups only. Okay, so let's see how much he would raise. He won $3,000 to get himself started. $7,600. Did that... Okay, did it... Is that the fresh... Because I think I checked earlier, and I think it was less than that. So that must update itself automatically. So, I mean, congratulations to him for that. For Sean Sweeney and the other guy, $7,600. So that's definitely enough to get the thing out the door. Got 2 weeks left, and the end of the campaign and the beginning of the campaign are the big pushes. So he'll probably have a push, because a lot of people have been mentioning him. Yeah, the main thing about selling the book is you gotta have friends in high places on other channels help you mention the book, interview you for talk about it, and people have been. It's been getting eyeballs, and it deserves it. It's very good. It looks very solid. Anyway, you can check this out on Indiegogo, and like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.